we don't need to know.
Are we actually doing matches?
Alright, this is for Hawk.
Can I leave?
Oasis Esports.
We not gonna get a McCree?
Just fast forward it.
No. That's exactly what we want right there.
Luff, we already discussed this. It's already said.
Okay.
Good comp.
It'll help for either a Genji
So,
or
I kind of watched this earlier, and I noticed, I talked to Hawk about this too, but Hawk has this pairing with Orion. Kind of asked why that is, because normally the pairing, this isn't typically the correct pairing. And the reason was given was so that the main healer has more visibility on the main tank. This, though that sounds good in theory, it's really not necessary, because your main tank is like the biggest person on the team anyways. It's not gonna be hard to spot your main tank. That's not the reason why you would do pairings. So you actually want to pair your Mercy with your Zen. Those two would be in one group. Everybody else would be grouped. Oh, sorry. Everybody else here is grouped in another group. So that means like they would be in a party, right? And the reason why is not because of visibility for the healers to see the other team. It's because it's more for the rest of the team, this group here, to have visibility on your healers, because your healers' lives are actually way more important than anybody else on this team right here. It's for peeling purposes. If you guys have, so right now you guys have just one paired group and everybody else is not in a group. So what you want to do is the healers would be in one group, right? These group would be in here. So instead of like, so the healers would be like in green, and then the rest of your group would be in blue, but they would also, everybody here will see themselves in blue. If you don't group this main group together, they kind of see everybody else as blue, so it defeats the purpose. You want to make sure you have two groups, and then the tanks just need to realize that your healers are definitely going to spot your tanks. It's impossible to not spot your tanks, and if you're not getting heals, then that's a separate issue. It's not because they can't see you, it's because, you know, there might be another issue going on. So that's kind of why, that's how the preferred pairing is that you just want to have your healers together and everybody else separate. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go ahead and start this.
What's it called? It'll help for a Genji or a Wrecking Ball if they haven't put it up.
Yeah, like what a Ryders does every time he sees a Hanzo is he'll try to deflect. As soon as you try shooting him, just stop and wait until the reflect is done. He'll still be on you by that time. Yeah. And just one click.
Oh, hi Pseudo.
He does make mistakes.
Let me know if you guys have questions too.
Alright. Let me see. Send your setting.
I hope that explanation made sense.
I'm sitting right here.
I mean, if it works for you guys, that's fine. That's just not the reason I think you guys just had it backwards is that the tanks wanted to make sure they're seen when it really should be the other way around.
Just much easier. Like I know Ryders.
Yeah, so do you guys want to make sure you guys get in the habit of grouping into two groups?
Oh no, you have a trap there, so just as soon as he gets trapped, call it.
Nervous.
Don't worry about it.
We got this, guys.
Just a game.
It's just have fun. This is us having fun.
Just think of it as a company, but don't play.
I thought your guys' positioning here was pretty interesting, because usually most teams would just like play at this choke right here. You guys chose to play at the second choke, which is totally fine. It's just riskier on your Orion to be alone, but you guys seem to pull it off anyways. So like this is choke 1, and then this choke 2. Your choke 2 is really just for your team to fall back on in case you guys lose choke 1, but how you guys are playing it right now seems to be working, so it's fine. So like, actually let me rewind it back a little bit. The other thing I noticed too is Hawk doesn't press tab nearly enough or at all, so it's really hard to like determine who the other team is unless you like encounter them or see it in the feed. Where Hawk is playing right now is perfect, and then I would just say like your junk play a little bit up more. Your junk would play like with your Rhine, and then I think you guys had Zarya too. Zarya can play up there too. Your Mercy just wants to stay back here so she can watch this area right here and call it out. For this video's sake, I'm just gonna call out the heroes by whatever gender they are. Gender assuming 2018.
Widow and a Pharah. Widow and a Pharah.
Widow on bridge.
So because like your Rhine is playing by himself, there's not enough pressure up on the choke, so the team could probably just steamroll right up without a problem. But it doesn't look like the other team isn't even like pushing out, which is that's their mistake.
Wrecking ball's going left? Yeah, right. No, no. Yeah, they have a wrecking ball.
So I'd say like if your Widow isn't doing enough to take out a Pharah, then the Widow needs to switch off. Or yeah, the Widow would need to switch to like a another hit scan.
Bubble into.
Your Zarya probably should play a little bit more forward, because she's not really tanking at this point. Like, Ryan is the only one tanking, so I kind of know why he like went down really quickly.
I'm on Ryan. Ryan is low. Ryan's dead.
Zen's low.
There's somebody shooting.
Stay alive. It's winnable.
There's somebody on the left side. I think is.
We don't have a fight.
So Hockey definitely could use your damage boost a little bit more, in these team fight scenarios.
Watch out, Widow's in that doorway.
Yeah.
Got it.
The only other comment I have about like one of the main things is that you don't use your mic enough, and I'm pretty sure like most coaches that you encountered probably told you that as well.
He's behind.
So is Widow.
He's dead.
Good.
So is Widow.
Widow's behind.
No,
Back up.
We got a front line.
Yeah.
Really glad you guys are playing in front of the card too. This is good.
There's Zarya's one.
I have shatters out of seat.
They're all low.
Yeah, you definitely need a pseudo unit. You need to play closer to your tank.
Okay, what ults do they grab?
Because if his shield goes down, which it will go down, you have to be the body shield at that point.
They're gonna have Shattered, they're gonna have Valk.
So right here,
Genji's one. Nice.
let's go back a little bit. Hawk, your team is basically at full health, but you have your heal beam consistently on your team. You usually just damage boost your damage boost your junk as much as possible there.
I'm Genji.
Widow behind.
Genji one. Never mind.
Good.
We're fine.
Keep him healed up.
Not good.
Watch out, Mercy.
Winnable.
I have to back off. I'm waiting for you guys. I'm backing off.
This is good that you're damage boosting there.
Hawk is still alive. You need to help.
Wait, who is still there? Somebody's alone.
Oh, no, I'm trying to get out.
Nice.
Not fast
I'm gonna
enough.
redirect. You.
Did we? So like, you haven't pressed tab once at all since the fight has started, and like a lot of time had already gone down. They pushed the cart basically to the point. You really need to press tab more as a support, because then you can see like what ults your team has, so you can kind of help the team coordinate what should be used and what shouldn't. Also, just viewing your team's own ults, you can kind of help determine what the enemy team's ults are at too, so you can kind of predict like when Genji's gonna use his ult, or anybody else on the other enemy team's gonna use their ult. So at this point, like, you didn't press your ult, or you didn't press your tab. So we have like your team, well, assuming nobody on your team presses the tab, like nobody really can predict what ults are gonna be used. So you really get into the habit of using it. Because then if you knew that Genji was gonna press his he's gonna use his ult, you could have played a little bit more safe.
Guys, front line, front line, front line, front line, front line.
He's on me.
He's triggered, swing. Nice. Sorry.
So something for both of your healers, including yourself and your Zen, is that neither of you guys ask for peels, and you guys don't use vocals very much. So get in the habit of using your vocals. If like at all you're getting even like damaged and you don't even know who it is, it doesn't matter. Just call it out that you're that the team's Mercy is getting attacked, or call it out if you see that your Zen is getting attacked.
Lock it up.
Regroup, back up.
I got bad spawn. You just gotta run. You're running. Your guys are running.
Keep running.
Back up.
They still haven't used Shadow yet?
Right here, you guys are playing a little bit too passive here. I know there's like a Widow, but there's a choke. Actually, maybe I can just go back. Where your Zarya's playing right now, that's the perfect place to play, because that's the choke that you want to play on. Right over here. This is your second choke that you fall back to. I think you guys are playing a little bit more passive because your Rhine is not there. But if you damage boost your Junkrat while Zarya is up there, it kind of prevents the other team from just kind of steamrolling you, because right now their cart is still back here and it hasn't even reached that choke yet. So I guess it's really not just like about holding the choke, it's really just an intimidation tactic, is that you want to just scare them and like tell the other team that you're actually there, so they kind of don't just free-nilly just go up.
Yeah, I know.
So now that your tanks are there, you guys are now pushing forward. I'm glad you didn't use your Valk there. So still you haven't pressed tab yet, so I didn't even know that your Zen switched off of Zen and went Moira, which is not really the ideal pick, because now you guys are running technically two main healers, even though Mercy's arguably not really a main healer anymore, but you guys don't have a defensive ult anymore for Genji, and you guys really need that trans in case Genji does pop his ult. So this, for sure, is just Moira and Mercy. You guys have to back out. You have to back out, yeah. And if you had used your mic, you probably should have communicated that with Moira too, just to have Moira back out as well. It's good that your Rhine is playing a little bit more aggressive, since you guys are right at the point.
Genji is right side. Be careful. Look, you're alone.
It's good, Valk. So yeah, you guys don't have a defensive ult for that Genji, so then that's why like your team kind of spread out and then just ended up like dying anyways. Here, probably stay with your Zarya a little bit and then just fall back. Your life is definitely more important, so it's good that you're playing very safe and selfishly. Your Widow at this point needs to switch off because they're really just starting to steamroll up the hill.
Focus, Rogers.
Don't peek Widow with that shield.
So if you had pressed tab a little bit more, you can tell what the other team is running. You can help identify like who the enemy team's carry is. Actually, I don't think I've heard the team identify that yet. I would say like get in the habit of identifying who the other team's carry is, because then your DPS can switch off and make a counter against that person. The point of like identifying the carry is that you just don't want to you want to make sure you shut it down immediately.
No, I mean I'm not talking to eliminate. You can be with us. I have grab.
I'm gonna use it soon.
So here I notice you damage boosted Junk while it's Tyre, and I'm pretty sure they removed that anyway, so that's just an FYI.
Try to get the Sen first.
Run low, nice.
Nice. We can win this.
Right.
Help.
Nice. Alright, he's dead.
So here, you guys don't actually need a backup, because you guys just won the fight. Everybody is down on the team. You can afford to play forward and just play this choke down here, actually. This choke under the bridge, again, for like an intimidation tactic. It just stops them from gathering up as a full 6 to move up. Instead, you have a chance of staggering them a little bit if you do play forward.
Okay, what ults are they gonna use?
They still haven't used Shatter.
Now, you guys are playing way too passive, so you guys only play aggressive when you guys are stalling point. But you guys really should play a little bit more aggressive, regardless.
They have both supports, both DPS.
Yeah, so you guys are playing, your Ryan's playing back here. You can have it playing down, by that choke right there.
I'm not gonna grab Genji because
Someone's trigger right side. Riders on bridge.
There you go. They're pushing
No
on that.
bubble, no bubble. I'm gonna use.
Again, get in the habit of using a damage boost a lot more.
Nice.
Here, I think it's unfortunate you just ended up dying here. Just know it's not your job to take out the Widow, especially when the entire team has died already and your entire team is alive. Just make sure you play safely.
Use sidelines, guys.
Careful.
Okay.
So then, that's the other thing too, is like you don't use vocals at all. You just died. I want to make sure you get in the habit. And this goes for both healers. If you guys die, make sure you announce that you died, because your team doesn't always look at the feeds and doesn't always have that in mind, that they might accidentally play a little bit more aggressive, and you want to make sure you just tell them you guys are running one healer, or that and make sure you don't use you get out of the habit of using I's and me's. Make sure you call out who you are. So like, your Mercy is down, you're only running a Zen, or you're only running Moira, so just be careful so they play a little bit more reserved.
They have sights too.
On Ryan.
Genji's on me.
Okay, on me too. Alright, they use trans. Back off.
They
I'm
stop.
gonna see if I can figure out what they're playing here. So they're Genji Widow. You know what would be a good comp here is that if your Widow can go Brigitte, that would be really good. Because I don't think Widow's getting much value out of this, because at this point they have to go to cart, right? There's not too much distance that they can play unless like their Widow's playing back here for whatever reason, and you guys are running shields, so I don't think you guys are getting you guys aren't getting that much value out of playing Widow. What you guys should be playing is like a Brigitte. That way you can shut down the Genji, and it helps the healers a lot.
How have you used Shatter? Why haven't they used Shatter? I should have used it. I should have used Shatter that fight. I should have used it.
I'm gonna go.
Don't get out. We have Shatter.
I think it's a really lost opportunity for not having a defensive ult too. Running Brigitte too, I mean, you guys aren't going to have a defensive ult, but if you run Brigitte and then switch Mercy and Moira out to Lucio, actually you probably switch Mercy out with a Lucio. That would be like the perfect comp in this situation, especially when they're this close to capping the point, or capping the card or whatever.
Nice.
The Lucio would help boot people off of the cart if they ever are on the cart, and then you guys are running you would have like a shit ton of heals.
Do you see Ryan?
So again, you don't really have anything for this Genji here. Whoa, is this just me or is it lagging?
Back up.
So at this point,
Alright, they're using ult.
everybody needs to go stall heroes. So I'm glad you went Lucio. Again, I can't tell if anybody else has switched because you don't tab. So if you're gonna go stall heroes, then your tanks would go Winston D.Va or the three tanks. Two of the tanks need to go. One of the three is Winston, D.Va, or Hammond, and then your DPS would go you can stay Brigitte, but one of them needs to go either Doomfist or Tracer, and then Lucio and Moira.
Nice. Contest.
Because now you're just stalling for time, and just making sure that they like just get off of cart. Any chance for them to get off of cart and get picks is good. So if you're gonna play Lucio, make sure you learn to wall ride out of the spawn, because wall riding out of spawn will give you the fastest advantage instead of just walking and speed boosting out.
It's alright.
I was trying to get back sooner.
I don't.
Wait, so what happened there? He shattered or something?
Yeah, no. I went to shatter the Genji, but I got booped up in the air by their diva,
I see.
and then he shattered me from behind doing that.
I see.
Very disappointing.
I should have won a bit more of those Widow battles.
It's all good. It's
alright.
We got this, boys. Attack is
It happens. It happens. Okay.
So what are we doing?
So Luke said either 3-3 or Junk Hanzo, Ron, Zarya, Mercy, Zen.
I don't think we should do junk. I really like having a Sombra though.
No, I'm just
No,
EMP
don't
really
change
shut
up what
down.
Luke is trying to get us
An
to do.
EMP will shut
Doesn't
down.
matter.
No, we're not gonna change it. It's just a
He's
scout.
the coach.
Really, I really like your guys' tactic right here, where you guys just stay in spawn while your Sombra does the scouting. It's really
So are we
smart.
staying back while Sombra scouts?
Yes.
Ninja,
Yes.
you keep your translocator in the spawn.
The only thing is, I think your Sombra could have done like a faster job doing that, because you guys are sitting in spawn for like, I think like a good 10 seconds at least before you guys decide to switch off of certain things.
Because they will see you and they will immediately know that they have this up their cap.
I'm gonna go actually far right. Which okay, I'll go far left. Death Ball.
Are you guys running? Oh yeah, you guys are running Zen.
Death Ball, Ryan, Zarya,
Where?
Farah Mercy.
Alright,
Where?
so we don't.
Where?
Farah
Where is it
Mercy,
up?
Widow.
Where are they
Alright, come
set
back.
up?
They're stacked up like the front where we set up.
Okay,
earlier.
Alright, go jump.
Jump.
Or Farah.
You need to take high ground right. Okay, yep,
Yep.
fire side.
Farah top right.
Got it.
So they're running a Pharah. Hopefully Hanzo's a good enough hit scan. Oh, you guys have a Pharah, so that's fine.
On Widow. Widow hit.
Nice.
Ryan hit.
Push him. We have a
She's getting pocketed. She's getting pocketed.
So this is perfect. You guys are definitely playing aggressive, which is good.
Right, Widow's over there back in.
I think your Zarya and your Ryan could communicate a little bit better together so that Ryan knows when he can drop his shield for a bubble.
You don't need to get onto that.
They're
Ran,
rezzing.
no mercy guys.
That's unfortunate.
Whoa.
They're back to Genji.
So you died, unless somebody's like if your Ryan obviously was not looking at kill feed, he would have known to just back out and wait for you to spawn. Instead, both of your tanks are down and now you guys are kind of staggered. So definitely communicate that you died, even if it's embarrassing.
We're going in. I'm gonna block his shatter, that's it. Full extension.
Luke, hammer on that Genji.
They have sights up. They know what's happening.
Nice.
He's back in the back. He's
It blocked.
I'm glad you didn't go for that res since your Zen needed the healing more.
Oh, Ryan's shattered.
I'm back out.
You guys definitely need somebody on the team to call out when your team needs to reset, because I don't think anybody does. And so your team just engages without really having that person make that call ahead of time.
Let's go. Okay, what ult do we have?
Usually the person who does make the reset calls are gonna be your healers.
Got one out.
Nice.
Alright, nice.
We can push. I'm trying to get my.
If you have a problem with it, I think it's really just because you don't have a designated person to look out for that. Ideally, your off healer calls it out because he has the best overview picture.
I'm gonna ult.
Right low.
Get right.
Dead.
Mercy on right. Mercy on right. Sorry behind. That was a horrible trans.
Yeah.
Push cart.
Sensik is on choke. Sensik on choke. Bottom in.
This is really good that you guys are playing ahead of. Just make sure somebody's on cart, which is Mercy.
Coming back now.
Genji hit.
Kill Ryan.
Oh, we're two down. We're not winning this fight. Back up.
Okay, I'm gonna use grab this fight.
Widow, oh my fucking god. Widow's behind you guys.
So Mercy, I would play in the corner, in the rooms a little bit, right over here. Oh wait, there's enemies team right there.
Widow's behind.
I would just be really careful with that Widow right there. What? Why is it?
We got this.
This is being ran off of your guys' visor, so I don't know if it's like a visor issue or. Oh no.
I wouldn't put it past. There's a Zen way out on
Bubble
left.
Nice.
Sorry, ear rape. You know what? It might be. It must be this area here. Let me try it on my other computer and see if it is that.
They're right high.
Nice.
Okay, what ults do we have? We're gonna.
That was a horrible trans.
Yeah.
Push cart.
We're like around here,
Sensik
right?
is on choke. Sensik on choke. Bottom in.
Okay, I'm pushing.
Coming back now.
Genji hit.
So right here,
Oh, we're two down. We're not winning this fight.
I can't tell if their entire team is
Okay, I'm gonna use
back
grab.
or not,
I'm
but
gonna use grab.
ideally, like, your tanks play past the choke a little bit, just to avoid anybody from coming this way. But I think because Zarya's not playing with your Ryan, you can't really do that. Ryan can't effectively tank by himself. The other option is your Zarya plays in this room right here, prevent people from coming in. But instead, I think you guys just let them walk through, so that way now they have like,
Widow's behind you guys.
now they're able to go behind us. And like there's people on the left here.
Widow's behind.
So I would say like as soon as Zen died, Zen needed to be the one to call for a reset because you guys are already down like 2 players and you guys are against 6. You guys can't get it down unless you like suddenly have some kind of ult that would even you guys out.
Okay, they have vision now. Widow's back in.
Grab now.
Genji behind.
I can't do anything. Widow's on me.
So there, you need to damage boost your Zarya more than anything.
I ulted, but Widow got me.
Careful. Ryan coming in. Into the.
Oh no, I'm dead.
Disappointing.
It's fine. It was a good game. We just need to shut down Riders. It's all comes down to. He's the only one actually doing anything. And obviously Sensik was doing good in the duels.
So what did he said somebody needed to take down, I think he said this guy's name, which was Genji. So he did identify the carry, just a little too late. Yeah. You guys need to identify, like, as soon as you guys lose a fight, and then make the switches, because I don't think you guys had you guys had 0 counter for Genji. And, like, the only counter you might have had was like your Zen, which isn't a counter. It's really just like preventing Genji from getting anything on you guys. But I don't think I saw a trans for any of the Genji ults, so that's also not very effective either.
We're going to stick. Grip is gonna hard stay on Moira. Because
was this the only map? I think this might have been the only map you guys really have here recorded. Everything else is just chat. So then we'll do Hawk's notes real quick. Is Hawk, just make sure you're partied. I mean, make sure your team is fine with it, but party with your your off healer, and that's just for peeling purposes. Especially since you guys don't use vocals, which you need to start doing, is you need to party with your off healer so that your team and your team would be in a separate party, so they can just see you guys better and are able to spot you immediately if you guys do need to get peeled. So that's one. Vocals, you definitely need to work on vocals. There's 0 vocals from you. Maybe I missed like a couple of things, but I don't think you were on at all. That goes for Zen as well, is you guys need to work on being more vocal. An exercise I would try that is annoying, but it works because it gets you in the habit of doing it, is to start doing play-by-plays by yourself. So start talking to yourself about like what you're about to do, why you're doing it, just like things that go on in your mind. And if you're gonna watch, if you're a Mercy main, I would really highly suggest going on YouTube and looking up what is her name? Let me see here. Give me a second, guys. Her name is Animedic, aka Sarah. She has a Twitch now, but there's a YouTube video which most Mercy mains probably watched it, but I just watch it again because what she's typing out is what you should be saying out loud, at least in the practice. And the video, I think, is called like Thoughts of a Mercy, and I think there's 3 of them. So really watch those and then just get in the habit of speaking out loud. Once you kind of get a habit of just using your mic more, you can just ease out of doing that and just speak more, like announcing that something's on you, that you died, or even telling your team to back off a little bit, because your team's not going to know. They're very tunnel vision sometimes, and it's really up to the healers to call that out. And tabbing, you need to tab a lot. I would argue even just once, especially if you're doing a VOD review or something, but you definitely need to hit tab. Tab to see what your team's ults are at, and to kind of gauge what the other team is playing and what ults they might have. Those are some of the big things that you should really focus on. Those are actually one of the more basic things. Game mechanics, you have positioning down pretty well. Utilize rooms and corners more. And then for your team, your Zarya just needs to play with your Rein more. And your Rein needs to be more consistent on whether or not to be passive or aggressive. Right now it's pretty mixed. And then your DPS just needs to identify what heroes to switch off of based off of what the other team is playing. I hope that was helpful. But let me know if you guys have any questions. And I'm going to end it here.